I'm Mr. MegaManFan, this is Genesis Does, and today we are looking at Wonder Boy for the Sega Master System. Because if you use the Master System peripheral that allows you to play Master System games on a Sega Genesis, then Genesis does, but Nintendo don't. And Nintendo definitely did not do Wonder Boy. They did Adventure Island, which was a remake of this game by Hudson Soft, with a brand new protagonist named Master Higgins, but it was not Wonder Boy. Then again, as I've alluded to in other videos on this series, the history is incredibly convoluted. Pardon me for a second, I'm fighting a cold. Let me just get a sip of water here. It's that time of year, I'm afraid. No, it's not COVID. Don't worry about that. I got my vaccine back in March. Anyway, Wonder Boy. The plot of this game is relatively simple. You're either named Tom Tom or Book, depending on the region the game was released in, and your goal is to rescue your girlfriend Tina from the clutches of an evil monster. And the way you do that is progressing forward through these levels, jumping over obstacles, and collecting fruit. Now, according to the official Wikipedia page, if you want to go by that, the fruit is to restore the length of your timer, which you see above you in the middle that's constantly ticking down. However, I prefer to think of it as picking up fruit to replenish your health, because when I'm fighting a cold, that's certainly what I do, is have more vitamin C. Pardon me as I take another sip of water here. Don't colds suck? Aren't they just the worst? In fact, to get my energy up before doing this video, I sat here for at least 10 minutes listening to DJ Premier instrumentals, just putting them on in the background on my Bluetooth speaker and letting myself nod my head to the beat and going, yeah, I can do this. I can get through this video today. Although my gameplay footage is probably not at expert level, because I'm a little bit... well, my reflexes are just a little slow because everything is a little bit slow when you're not feeling well. But I'm doing the best I can for the purposes of demonstrating this game. So as I said, it's convoluted because Wonder Boy and Adventure Island have the same source, which was an arcade game originally, first developed by, let me make sure I get my facts right here, I don't want to misstate this. Developed by Escape, who is not known by Escape anymore. You now know them as Westone Entertainment. So, when they developed this game, it was originally for arcades, but I would think that it achieved greater fame when it was ported to home consoles, because it became a staple of 80s and 90s home systems. Here's a short list of things that are confirmed that it was on. Commodore 64, the SG-1000, let's see, the ZX Spectrum, the Amstrad CPC. They even made a Game Gear version of it, although they gave it a really weird name for some reason, like Temple of Zircon or something. Like, how would you even know that was a Wonder Boy game with a name like that? I have no idea. Oh, no, it was called Revenge of Drancon. I stand corrected. And I take another sip of water because I'm starting to lose my voice again. So, this game also differs from the Wonder Boy games that follow it, if you've played any of those, because it sheds the strictly platforming type of adventure and mixes in some RPG elements where you have to buy items and restore your health with potions and complete certain areas to unlock other areas. In fact, some people would say that games like Wonder Boy 3 were Metroidvanias before the term Metroidvania even existed. I guess. I mean, I can see the argument, because you certainly have to do a lot of backtracking in that game to get items that enable you to do things that you couldn't otherwise do, and you have to get certain monster transformations because you can't traverse areas unless you do that. Like, you have to turn into the mouse because only the mouse can walk up walls. So, another sip of water as I'm losing my voice. So, that's not going to be found here. You've got power-ups, but you don't buy them. You just collect them from eggs. The most simple and obvious one you get is a hatchet you can throw at enemies, but you also get a skateboard from time to time, and once in a while you even get a fairy that protects you from hits until the timer runs out on it. So you can just kind of plow your way through a stage once you've got the fairy until the point it runs out, which when you hit an enemy you're in trouble. So you gotta kind of keep in mind in your head how long that timer lasts, because it doesn't actually show it on the screen. The only hint that you've got is the music will stop, but you don't want to still be going when the music stops. Oh, and there are dolls hidden in each level. Well, I shouldn't say hidden, because that was pretty much in plain sight, but if you collect the doll in each stage, you get bonus points, and if you collect all of the dolls in the game, it unlocks a special bonus area that's otherwise inaccessible, so you've got a reason to keep an eye out for them. Most of them are in plain sight, but some of them require you to make a tricky jump, like they'll be at the bottom of a falling platform, so you gotta grab it and then leap off the platform right before it goes completely out of the screen and you lose a life. So timing is everything, as it is in most platforming games. I wouldn't say the controls on Wonder Boy are perfect. One of the things that I actually find annoying is that higher placed items can't be reached with your average jump. You have to be running by holding one button and then jump with the other button, and then the momentum of the running jump allows you to get the higher items. But if you didn't want to be running when you jumped, you can overshoot your target and run right off the edge of a platform and die. So it would have been nice if they could have had like a double tap jump, or if you hold down the jump button to jump higher, something other than forcing you to run to jump higher. That just seems like bad design as far as I'm concerned, but I'm nitpicking because I actually do like Wonder Boy quite a lot. I think other than that one problem, the controls are pretty tight. You can actually turn around in midair, which saves you from falling off platforms a lot of the time. You can wheel it back if you feel like, oh shit, I didn't mean to do that, I better dial it back a little bit and land here in the middle instead of over the edge. You can actually adjust on the fly, which is very welcome in games like this. And I think the enemy placements are fair. There's memorization involved. I mean, the more you play this, the more you'll know where they are and when to expect them. And if you do that, I mean, it's not like they're randomized. They don't really change that much, but they're placed in places where you'll have to think about it a little bit. Like, you'll have an enemy and then a rock, and if you jump over the rock, you might hit the enemy. So you got to throw your hatchet first and then jump over the rock. You just have to remember the right combinations of buttons. Now, supposedly, again, this is going by the Wikipedia page, so take it for what it's worth, whether or not you accept this premise. It was originally supposed to be an auto-scrolling game, but Ryuichi Nishizawa decided that was too hard. I think an auto-scrolling version of Wonder Boy definitely would be, so he said, no, let's make this a more traditional platformer instead. I thank him for that decision, because Wonder Boy is a really fun game. It's a great addition to your Sega Genesis library, and if you have a Master System, it's a must-own for that as well. Thanks, as always, for watching.